Quiet, please. Good morning and welcome to today's New York City Council hearing for the Committee on Civil Service and Labor, joint with the Committee on Higher Education. At this time, we ask that you silence all electronic devices, and at no time is anyone to approach the dais. If you would like to sign up for in-person testimony or have any other questions, please see one of the Sergeant-at-Arms. Chair, we're ready to begin.
Good morning and welcome to City Hall Chamber. Happy Halloween, everyone. I'm Councilmember Carmen De La Rosa, Chair of the Civil Service and Labor Committee. Welcome to today's joint hearing held in collaboration with my good friend and neighbor, Chair Dinowitz, and the Higher Education Committee to discuss various pathways into New York City civil service workforce. Every year, hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers take civil service exams in the hopes of joining the municipal workforce. Our city agencies are staffed by hardworking, dedicated New Yorkers who deliver essential city services across the 5 boroughs. We are immensely grateful to these employees who keep our city running smoothly every day. Beyond ensuring we retain such exemplary staff, over the past few years, the City Council has taken action to expand recruitment efforts and to bring more talent into civil service. In 2022, the City Council enacted Local Law 2, which directs DCAS to establish a civil service ambassador program. This initiative aims to engage and educate potential candidates about employment opportunities within the city's workforce. Building on this progress, last year, DCAS implemented Local Law 4, which launched the Public Service Corps program. This program provides internship opportunities to diverse undergraduate and graduate and law students from a wide range of academic disciplines. Within the program, managers provide interns with guidance and training, supplying them with the tools and knowledge needed to pursue successful careers in civil service. CUNY, as always, has played a pivotal role in helping students navigate the civil service system, providing them with training and expertise needed to thrive in public sector careers. Many CUNY alumni have gone on to become indispensable members of our city's workforce, and we deeply appreciate CUNY's continued commitment to building a strong partnership with the city. Our goal at the City Council is clear: to enhance accessibility to civil service jobs, promote diversity and equity within the workforce, and set a standard of excellence that cities across the country can look to. Today, we look forward to hearing from DCAS and CUNY about their ongoing efforts to further these goals. I'd like to thank the committee staff for their hard work in preparing for today's hearing, public policy analyst Elizabeth Arts, and legislative counsel Ria Osawara. I'd also like to thank my staff, James Burke, my chief of staff, Deputy Chief of Staff Kiana Diaz, and Communications Director Frey Familia. I would also like to recognize that we've been joined by Councilmember Yusuf Salam, my other neighbor. And now I turn it to Chair Dinowitz for his opening statement.
Thank you to my good friend and neighbor, Chair De La Rosa. I'm Councilmember Eric Dinowitz, Chair of the Committee on Higher Education and a CUNY alum. We are pleased to join the Committee on Civil Service and Labor for this oversight hearing on pathways into New York City's civil service. Before turning to today's hearing, I want to speak directly to New York City students for a minute. So to our CUNY students, I know many of you are registered and ready to vote on November 5th or even early. In our hearing last month, we heard about the many important efforts that CUNY staff and faculty and indeed national organizations have made to talk to you about the importance of voting and getting you registered. We also know that registration is one thing and actually voting is another. So CUNY students, please make sure you vote early or on November 5th if you haven't already done so during this early voting period or by absentee ballot. And for those of you who are 18-year-old new voters, welcome to our democratic process. And now a word to our city's public high school seniors and your families. I hope you have already heard this from your teachers and counselors at school, but in case you haven't, CUNY is waiving application fees across all of its campuses until November 15th. So apply now. Do not wait. SUNY is waiving its application fees for up to 5 colleges until November 3rd. So there's another great public higher education option for you. This is a savings of $50 to $65 per college application. So please take advantage of it. And further, if you didn't already know it, admission to all 7 CUNY community colleges is guaranteed for all New York City public high school graduates. We are very proud of the 75,000 students CUNY community colleges served last year, and we hope to see a lot of you on CUNY campuses next fall. And that brings us to today's hearing. Chancellor Felix Matos Rodriguez wrote in an op-ed piece, which I have quoted in the past, that it is CUNY's job to turn out graduates who are well-informed, socially aware, and actively engaged in the world, particularly when our society is so polarized. He further explains that CUNY must ensure that its graduates are not only prepared to participate in society, but also motivated to make it better. And he notes the large number of New York City and New York State public officials who have graduated from CUNY, including me. He claimed that CUNY's colleges were the incubators of our public service aspirations. It is those public service aspirations that have led and continue to lead CUNY's current students and graduates to pursue a career in civil service in our city. Putting CUNY students, whether before or after graduation, on a clear and certain pathway to a good job contributes to the civic, social, and economic mobility of those students. To that end, CUNY offers a wide variety of apprenticeships, internships, and fellowships that help CUNY students and graduates make a successful transition from school to work. I look forward to hearing today about CUNY's efforts in engaging students in a couple of programs that do just that. And I want to acknowledge my colleagues on the Higher Education Committee who are present. We've been joined by Councilmember Brewer. I would also like to personally thank Adam Staropoli, my legislative director, Jenna Klaus, my chief of staff, Sahar Moazami, the committee's counsel, Regina Paul, the committee's policy analyst, and Ali Stouffer, the committee's financial analyst. Back to you, Chair De La Rosa.
Thank you, Chair Dinowitz. We've also been joined by Councilmember Moya on Zoom. We'll now turn, wait, I'm lost, okay. We will now be hearing testimony from representatives from the administration, and I now turn to the committee counsel to administer the oath for the panel of administration officials.
Thank you, Chair. We will now hear testimony from the administration. Before we begin, I will administer the affirmation. Panelists, please raise your right hand, and I will read the affirmation once, then call on each of you individually to respond. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee, and to respond honestly to council member questions?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've also been joined by Councilmember Hanks on Zoom. You may begin your testimony.
Good morning, Chair De La Rosa, Chair Dinowitz, and members of the City Council's Committee on Civil Service and Labor and Committee on Higher Education. My name is Katrina Porter, and I am the Chief Human Capital Officer for the City of New York and Deputy Commissioner of the Human Capital Division at the Department of Citywide Administrative Services, more commonly known as DCAS. I am joined here today by my colleague, DCAS Assistant Commissioner for Workforce Operations, Kadian Otar. I am grateful for the opportunity today to discuss our program and processes with you, and I will be presenting several general but incredibly meaningful ways in which the city provides pathways to civil service for New Yorkers. DCAS's commitment to equity, effectiveness, and sustainability guides our work in providing city agencies with the resources they need to carry out their respective missions. It is through this lens that we view the promotion of civil service, which we provide multiple doors to access as a gateway to good-paying middle-class jobs. I'd first like to discuss the legislative mandates under which we operate that help us in our efforts to provide pathways to municipal work. Then I will focus on the programs DCAS has initiated to create a pipeline for New Yorkers to work for the city. Several key laws guide our promotion of civil service, including Local Law 173 of 2018, which requires DCAS to provide civil service exam information to New York City public school students who will be graduating from high school in either the current or following school year. Under Local Law 2 of 2023, DCAS established and implemented a civil service ambassadors program that provides education and outreach at programs and institutions deemed opportunity areas, such as high schools, colleges, universities, and social work programs. In fiscal year 2023, DCAS participated in 86 events to share information about the benefits of joining the city's workforce. Enhanced by Local Law 4 of 2023, DCAS operates a Public Service Corps program that places both graduate and undergraduate students from diverse backgrounds into meaningful internships in a broad range of city agencies. Established in 1966, the Public Service Corps is the oldest off-campus work-study program administered by the city that places students into paid internship experience for academic credit. In fiscal year 2024, 116 students from 15 academic institutions, including 8 CUNY schools, participated in the PSC internship. Local Law 113 of 2023 requires DCAS, in collaboration with the Department of Correction and the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, to make available information about civil service examinations to criminal justice-involved individuals, including those who are currently incarcerated. Outside of the city, in accordance with the New York State civil service legislation that Governor Hochul signed into law this past September, DCAS has begun to expand the time frame by which educational requirements for competitive civil service exams must be met. Previously, applicants had to satisfy those educational requirements by January 1st of the following calendar year. Instead, candidates now have up to 1 year following the completion of an exam to fulfill such requisites. In addition to complying with local legislative priorities, DCAS also undertakes a host of initiatives designed to attract New York City's best and brightest. In fact, it is at the core of our work. Central to our mission is the administration of civil service examinations. The most reliable path into civil service for New Yorkers is through competitive examinations. Each year, DCAS administers between 185 and 200 examinations, offering pathways to civil service jobs for tens of thousands of New Yorkers. This year to date, we have administered 205 exams, which are the most ever undertaken by DCAS in a single year. Beyond our general examinations, we have also been piloting efforts to increase pathways to civil service through the Bridge exam. This initiative allows candidates to pay one application fee and take a single test that can be used for multiple job titles. Our most recent Bridge, which covers jobs including bookkeeper, clerical associate, secretary, maintenance worker, and staff analysts, have attracted more than 8,000 applications. This year, DCAS launched the Public Safety Exam. Adopting the innovative approach we used in creating the Bridge exam, the Public Safety Exam Level 1 affords applicants the opportunity to pay one fee for a single test, allowing them to qualify for sanitation enforcement agent, school safety agent, special officer, and traffic enforcement agent titles all at once. While I can't cover all of our initiatives today, I want to highlight a few that are particularly impactful. First, our Office of Citywide Recruitment, which among many things collaborates and engages with institutions, community-based organizations, elected officials, and faith-based organizations to create pathways to city jobs. To give a sense of scale, in fiscal year 2024, OCR participated in over 186 outreach events and reached over 16,600 participants, sharing widely the benefit of employment and promoting pathways into civil service for New Yorkers. Our CUNY-oriented programs and other pathway programs like the Civil Service Pathway Fellowship, Urban Fellows Program, and Automotive High School Internship offer real-life experience and provide career guidance and practical training in municipal fields. And our teams have been hard at work promoting these programs as well. In fiscal year 2023 and 2024, DCAS participated in close to 50 events across 18 CUNY schools engaging over 5,400 participants. Lastly, I want to highlight our immensely successful Minimum Qualification Review Project. This ongoing initiative reviews minimum qualifications for entry-level titles to expand the pool of eligible candidates and reduce employment barriers. To date, we have expanded educational requirements for 44 titles, affecting approximately 22,000 jobs. Similar efforts are taking place across the country as cities and states work to make public sector employment more accessible and inclusive. In conclusion, it is clear that DCAS is not just committed, but passionate about helping New Yorkers access civil service opportunities. The civil service system unquestionably provides a path to the middle class for underserved and underrepresented communities. Through the initiatives, programs, apprenticeships, and partnerships we've detailed here, DCAS continues to expand access to government jobs. We are proud of our partnership with CUNY and others and look forward to continuing the success of collective efforts have already achieved in the years to come. Lastly, I'd like to thank the City Council for its dedicated partnership with DCAS and the city in advancing this work. Thank you for your time and attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chairs De La Rosa and Dinowitz, and members of the Civil Service and Labor Committee and the Higher Education Committee. Thank you for the invitation to come and speak today on pathways to New York City's civil service. My name is Lauren Anderson, and I and my colleague Ludwig Witzes are proud to represent the City University of New York here today. I have the honor of serving as the University Associate Provost for Careers and Industry Partnerships and Chief Workforce Officer at CUNY. In this capacity, I oversee an office that was recently elevated to report directly to the Chancellor as well as the University Provost. This is a reflection of the importance that CUNY places on ensuring our students can successfully launch careers while helping to fuel the growth of New York employers. Last July, CUNY released a strategic plan entitled CUNY Lifting New York. We chose this title deliberately in recognition of the role that CUNY plays as a leading engine of inclusive economic mobility in New York City. New York's economic growth must be equitable. It has to lift all New Yorkers, particularly communities of color and residents who are underrepresented in critical careers long before the pandemic. No other institution is better positioned to lift up all New Yorkers than CUNY. And that's because advancing economic mobility at scale is in our DNA. It was instilled 175 years ago with the founding of CUNY's progenitor, a school called the Free Academy. It was created to educate and provide access, equity, and opportunity to people from families of modest backgrounds and qualify them for, quote, usefulness hereafter. Through decades and generations, CUNY has shaped and transformed the city and state's professional and middle class. It has gained national reputation for propelling more graduates up the economic ladder than all Ivies, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon, and MIT combined. Today, with 400,000 degree and non-degree seeking students served across 25 campuses, CUNY continues to commit to transforming itself into the higher education system our city and state needs, both in this moment and for decades to come. Central to this transformation is an effort to ensure that even more CUNY students have the exposure, preparation, experience, and connections needed to fuel an inclusive and thriving workforce, including in the public sector, which served as an essential backbone of our city and state. CUNY is an unparalleled talent pipeline for city, state, and federal agencies. According to our cap and gown survey of CUNY graduates, over 100 city and state entities have hired CUNY students during the 2023-2024 school year. Our top single employer of graduates is NYC Public Schools, where nearly a third of new teachers each year come from CUNY. And CUNY is actively working to grow this pipeline through three key strategies. The first is expanding paid internship and fellowship collaborations with public agencies. In FY24, 14 city agencies partnered with the CUNY internship program to introduce over 650 students into the public sector workforce while they are still in school. This effort expanded last year beyond the strictly city agencies with an additional internship partnership with the MTA. And students are hungry for the chance to work for the institutions that keep their city and state running. In our first round of recruitment for the MTA positions, over 16,000 students applied for 150 spots. We've continued to grow this essential partnership and have connected 500 students to MTA internships since the collaboration began last year. Moreover, managers of CUNY interns have realized what an essential pipeline our campuses can be. Many have sought to convert their interns into full-time civil service positions once they graduate. However, they quickly learned how difficult that was in the past. Even with a bachelor's degree, many interns did not meet the 2-year experience requirement that was previously needed to qualify for roles. So in collaboration with our city partners, we built that into programming. As you've heard previously, DCAS has restarted the Civil Service Pathways Fellowship. This fellowship built in a 3-year pathway for students to work and learn while working to qualify for civil service titles. As a result of this program, students can now more seamlessly transition into civil service roles at agencies that are delighted to have them. The second strategy is integrating connections to public sector career paths into the curriculum. Beyond internship opportunities that exist outside of a student's degree path, CUNY is also working to integrate exposure to the public service as part of a student's classroom experience. The Edward T. Rogowski, or ETR, Public Affairs Internship Program integrates public service directly into the classroom by coupling a credit-bearing course with the opportunity to intern in the state legislature. And many former city council members have hosted ETR interns as well in the past few years. We're eager to continue to expand the number of city council offices that are participating in this program. The third and final strategy is expanding access to full-time civil service hiring opportunities. In addition to efforts to build early pipelines, in the past year, CUNY has also worked to ensure that full-time opportunities are more accessible to students. As you heard, this year, CUNY campuses hosted hiring fairs for city civil service roles in partnership with the City University of New York, making public sector positions and career paths more visible to students and the community. We've also launched the CUNY Industry Support Hub, a front door for any organization, public or private, looking to partner with CUNY. In FY24, the Industry Support Hub and Campus-Based Industry Specialist Network worked with 76 public agencies to connect students to open roles. This is the work CUNY has embarked on to expand opportunities and partnerships that will enable students to pursue rewarding careers in the civil service. We are eager to do more to expand our collaboration to other city and state agencies. In the meantime, we also recognize CUNY's invaluable role as a civil service employer ourselves. And at this point, I'll turn things over to my colleague Lou, who can speak a little bit more to this.
Thank you, Lauren. Good morning, Honorable Chair De La Rosa and Dinowitz, and members of the Committee on Civil Service and Labor and the Committee on Higher Education. Thank you for the invitation to speak on civil service at CUNY. My name is Ludwig Voitzis. Please call me Lou. I serve as the University Director of Civil Service Support for the City University of New York, CUNY. Attracting and retaining qualified individuals for civil service positions poses ongoing challenges. Competitive markets and evolving job preferences require strategic measures to ensure a robust and diverse talent pool. With that being said, CUNY has reviewed our processes and taken several measures to increase our recruitment and retention efforts, including online exams for enhanced accessibility. To ensure accessibility and flexibility for candidates, all of our written exams are now online, and candidates take the written exam using their personal computers on the day and time of their choosing. For promotional exams, CUNY has increased communication with the HR teams at the 25 colleges to advertise promotional examination opportunities for staff to increase employee career development. For public safety and security titles, in terms of recruitment, in response to challenges posted by recruiting for security titles Campus Peace Officer, or CPO, and Campus Security Assistant, or CSA, we have taken several approaches to recruit for these positions. Public safety recruitment staff attended in-person job fairs, providing candidates with information about the positions as well as the use of tablets so they can apply for the exams immediately. We developed a new website dedicated to recruit CPOs by making the information more attractive and accessible for candidates to explore and apply for the CPO exam. Continuous recruitment exams. Recognize the urgency in filling security positions. We instituted continuous recruitment examinations for Campus Peace Officer and Campus Security Assistant titles. This allows candidates to apply for these examinations 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, even on holidays. The New York State Helps Local program. CUNY is in the process of requesting approval from New York State Civil Service Commission to have over 40 CUNY titles in our blue and white collar unions be approved through the New York State Helps Local program. This will allow CUNY to fill vacancies in the approved titles faster while allowing the employee to gain permanent civil service status. recruitment of CUNY students. CUNY is exploring the creation of new trainee or intern titles in order to create opportunities for students and recent graduates to gain valuable experience, which will allow them to transition into permanent civil service titles and create a pipeline for CUNY students. Additionally, we're exploring opportunities to partner with the CUNY Internship Program and the Civil Service Pathways Fellowship Program. To conclude, we believe that by addressing these aspects of recruitment, retention, and highlighting the inherent benefits of civil service positions, we can strengthen the foundation of our workforce at CUNY. Your support in advocating for policies that recognize and enhance the value of civil service roles at CUNY will undoubtedly contribute to the continued success and growth of our institution. We appreciate your time and consideration of these matters and look forward to the opportunity to discuss them further. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. I'll start with a few questions to DCAS. So in 2023, the council passed Local Law 4, which requires DCAS to submit an annual report on August 30th, starting in 2024, regarding the description of the steps taken to administer the Public Service Corps program. In late September, the council's compliance division received a notice from DCAS stating that the inaugural report was taking longer than anticipated to complete, but that the report was forthcoming. Can you please share the expected timeline for the submission of this report?
Thank you for that question, Chair. So I am happy to announce that we are near completion with compiling the data for the report, and we expect to have it to the City Council by the end of this month.
By the end of November.
Yes, end of November.
Great, thank you. How many PSC interns were recruited in 2024? And could you provide the breakdown of agencies where the interns were placed?
Absolutely. I'll turn this question over to Kadian for response.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question, and thank you, Katrina. For just a bit of a background, the Public Service Corps program, it is a program that allows individuals that are currently undergraduate or graduate in schools to participate in an internship at any of our city locations, city agencies. It requires that they receive financial aid, so federal work study, in order to participate, and the school has to allow them to serve off-site. So far we've had 116 interns that participated in fiscal year 24, which represents a 50%, almost 50% increase over the previous years. Right now they're serving at about 11 agencies, including DCAS. We're proud to say that Department of Homeless Services, Department of Records and Information Services, Department of Youth and Community Development, the District Attorney's Office, Kings County, the Health and Hospital, Housing Preservation and Development, Human Resources Administration, the Law Department, the Office of Technology and Innovation, and also the Public Administrator for New York.
Great, thank you so much. What outreach efforts did DCAS engage in to recruit PSC candidates, and how many outreach efforts did DCAS conduct in 2024?
Thank you. So a bit of a background in terms of the process for engaging students. So the program is threefold in terms of, one, building collaboration and partnerships with different entities. So the first part of the program requires us to engage with the schools to ensure that they are, participating in the program and they do allow for their students to work off-site. Mm-hmm. The second part of it is engaging the city agencies to make sure that they have positions and they're interested in participating in the program. And then the next part of it is engaging the students to make sure, there's opportunities available. They are, receiving federal work study so they can work at our city agencies. So we do a bit of engagements in the different areas, focusing on the students. We participate in various career fairs, information sessions. We do targeted internship-specific events with some of our schools. We also work with private institutions because sometimes, the information is there. We're getting people that are attending different events, so we want to make sure that we're spreading that information as widely as possible. We also leverage the job boards. For example, we use Simplicity and Handshake, because that's really where students go when they're looking to apply for internships in full-time positions. And we participate in different workshops and webinars that are geared towards students. So we try to do targeted events where we are working with the financial aid office at the schools or the career counselors to make sure that folks that are engaged are able to complete an application on the spot. So we do, of that, we did about 23 events that were targeted towards that population. But in addition to the PSC-specific events that we've done, we work with the Office of Citywide Recruitment, which includes information on all of our programs, including the Public Service Corps program, at all of the events that we attend.
Great, and so the most direct vehicle for students is through the financial aid. Have you found that it's through the financial aid offices?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
The most direct vehicle to students, have you found that it's through, inside of the institutions, it's through the financial aid office?
Yes, we have to work with them because they have to confirm that the person is receiving federal work study. And I don't know how I forgot it, but I also want to mention the PSC Expo that we held in June. This was an opportunity, it was a hiring event that we held, partnered with the schools and our city agencies to have the opportunities for students to interview and get offers on the spot for PSC internships that we had. And so we were able to fill about 28 positions from that event.
So one of the things that is very near and dear to my heart from my previous service for the state is the DREAM Act and making sure that undocumented students are also having access. So have you found that, you know, documented mixed status students, all types of students are being able to take advantage of the program?
So I know one of the requirements within the program is that folks are able to work within the U.S., so that's a requirement on it. We don't really have a breakdown of whether or not they're documented or undocumented. That's something that we can definitely look into.
Thank you. What additional findings or information regarding the administration of your Public Service Corps program over the past year that we can expect to see in the report when it's completed? What other details are in that report?
One of the things that you will see in the upcoming report is just a demographic breakdown of the individuals that are serving in the program. You will see that majority of them are female and are from diverse backgrounds. About 75% of folks are either Black, Hispanic, or Asian. And so we're really excited to show that there is diversity in the program, which is a result of the outreach that we're doing.
Great. I'm gonna ask one more question and then I'm gonna turn it over to Chair Dinowitz. This is a multi-pronged question, but it's about Local Law 2. In FY23, DCAS hosted 86 outreach events in compliance with Local Law 2 as part of the Civil Service Ambassador Program. These events were held across various venues, including drop-in centers, youth, workforce, career training programs, adult reentry programs, and other. How do you prioritize outreach to different civil service pathways, and is there a focus on a certain demographic or area that is underserved?
Thank you. That is a really good question because there is this need to focus on local law specific events, but also the natural nature of the work that we do, making sure that everyone is getting, have access to the information that we share. So each quarter we look at the different populations that we need to reach. We look at the, we're also guided by the exam schedule as well as the needs of the city. So we take into consideration how we can combine events. For example, if we need to engage folks that are just as impacted? Are there particular opportunities that we can promote? Or are there agencies that have a particular need within these programs? So we try to do that, but making sure that we are at least meeting the minimum, though we don't just work on the minimum, but at least we are engaging the different communities as outlined in the local law, but also based on the needs of the city.
In your experience, which one of these venues proved to be the most successful in engaging civil service candidates?
Thank you. I think thank you for recognizing that there's maybe some that are more engaging than others, but I think each of the venues are proved successful in its own ways. For example, when we engage with the educational institutions or the community-based organizations, the broader ones, we see more engagement. We see more engagement in terms of participants if we do virtual versus in-person. This is because those programs usually have some kind of career development component to it. So CUNY School schools, the goal is to get a job afterwards. The community-based programs, they have some kind of workforce element to it. We do find that it's a bit challenging for when we're engaging other programs such as the drop-in centers or foster care or the mental health. This is because not all the time that they do have a workforce program, but we do try to work around that challenge because we understand that there is a need to expose this information to folks who may be in those situations, but also may not know that there are opportunities available within city government and how they can go about applying for those jobs.
According to OCR's 2023 report on Civil Service Ambassador Program, 70 of the 86 events were held virtually. Did you notice a difference in participation, such as the overall amount or the demographic composition and engagement between in-person events and virtual events?
So in terms of the engagement between the in-person and virtual events, we see that as both ways. We see more people will register and attend a virtual event. For example, we would put, we do these general sessions and we post them on our website. We'll get about 1,000 people that are registering for them, versus when we're partnering with the schools or particular organizations, it's limited to only those folks that are engaging in those services, so we may get a lower turnout. But in terms of the engagement with the information that is being shared, I think it's the same, because we, regardless of where we're going, I have a team of folks that are really engaged with the information and want to make sure that even though civil service, you know, is very exciting, we want to make sure that folks leave understanding the information, understanding where they can go to apply for jobs, what it means to apply for these jobs, what it means to apply for exams. So we include different interactive activities during the sessions, both virtually and in person.
Thank you. Local Law 2 was passed partway through FY23, which we understand meant that you weren't able to visit all boroughs as per your report, but specifically Staten Island. And you know, our colleagues here in the council have much reason to complain about Staten Island being the forgotten borough, but we're committed to changing that. Okay, we're committed to making sure that they're not forgotten. So have you held any events on Staten Island since the report? And if not, then do you plan to?
Yes, and I do want to clarify that although we didn't report any events under Local Law 2, because of the definition of what's considered a civil service pathways, there are certain criteria that had to be met, we did have events in Staten Island.
Great.
So we may have participated at a job fair, or we may have held a career or an information session with a private institution. So we did events in Staten Island. We actually did 4 events in Staten Island in fiscal year 2023. And in 2024, we're doubling that to about, I believe, 8. And so we are focused on making sure that we are going to Staten Island and partnering with the different organizations there.
Great, and I encourage you to also reach out to some of our Staten Island council members. I'm sure they're happy to host you and have you there.
We are happy to work with them.
Great. For FY24, how many events have you held that met the requirements specified under Local Law 2 for the Civil Service Ambassador Program?
Thank you. We're still compiling the data for that. The report is due on the in December, but I can say that so far we've seen upwards of 90 events that are targeting Local Law 2 criteria.
Great. Thank you so much for answering my question. I'm going to pass it to Chair Dinowitz, and then I'll come back for more. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair De La Rosa. I don't know what it is, but when you mentioned Staten Island, I looked around the room and a number of people seem to be chuckling. It's a real borough, everyone. It matters. Just going off that, you held 4 events in Staten Island, and in the other boroughs, you held how many?
So for fiscal year 2023, we've had 10 events in the Bronx, 20 in Brooklyn, 33 in Manhattan, 17 in Queens, and then 132 of those were online.
How many in Queens?
I'm sorry?
How many in Queens?
Queens was 17.
Okay, it's a lot in Manhattan. You
A
find
lot
that
of-
Manhattan residents are more interested in civil service, and therefore you have most of the events there?
I think it's really about the engagement of the different groups that we reach out to. So one of the things that we do when we're doing outreach is to make sure that we are reaching out to organizations that are across the 5 boroughs. So we have individual staff members that are working on outreach for those particular areas. So within Manhattan, you may have a lot more entities that are responsive to our outreach. But that was fiscal year 2023. In fiscal year 2024, we've increased those numbers to 16 in Manhattan, 32 in Brooklyn. I'm sorry, 16 in the Bronx, 32 in Brooklyn, 31 in Manhattan, 22 in Queens, and 8 in Staten Island. So we are making sure that we are reaching out to the outer boroughs.
Yeah, it just going off that, it just sounds like there's sometimes we don't have the same number of entities or engaged organizations in the Bronx to do that work. Manhattan is very rich in those, so it just sounds like a little more outreach needs to be done in the Bronx for that. So for CUNY, you spoke a little bit about curriculum, and in your testimony you said the integration of the curriculum consists of internships in the state legislature, and that in the past there have been internships. But are there any? What do you do, or what investments are you making in new curricula or updating your curricula to ensure that Civil Service Pathways Fellows are equipped for their respective career tracks?
Sure, thank you for the question. Part of our strategy around ensuring that students are prepared to be able to enter the workforce, whether they're interested in going into the public sector or the private sector, is making sure that from day one, the curriculum is connected to careers. So one of the things that we've done is we have now about 100 faculty across CUNY who have been designated as Career Success Fellows. And what they have committed to doing is to integrating into their classes key connections both to specific careers and specific jobs in the public sector and private sector, but also some of the foundational skills that those students are going to need when they move into the private sector, like communication, stakeholder engagement, et cetera. For public sector pathways in particular, we have several schools, notably the CCNY Colin Powell School, the Mark School at Baruch, who have taken on additional efforts to be able to integrate partnerships with the public sector into their classes in the form of real-world projects, in the form of consulting projects with public agencies, et cetera. So there are a couple different ways that we do that at CUNY.
Yeah, can you talk more about that? Because it sounds, you said 100 faculty career fellows over 25 campuses. What efforts are being made to increase that number? Because again, preparing our students for the workforce, I think, is critical. And so what efforts are being made to increase that number and do more of that investment in sort of the work you were just speaking about?
Sure. So in addition to committing to updating their own classroom curricula, the other things that these fellows commit to doing are to hosting training and events on their campuses for other faculty. We've found that it works best for really mobilizing faculty to make changes around their curriculum when their peers are encouraging them to do so. So that's one of the requirements of the Career Success Fellows program, is that they host local events to be able to get more faculty engaged and deploying these strategies. In terms of efforts to invest in scale, we are very excited that over the past couple of years we've been able to prioritize this project in terms of the transformational funds that are coming from the state, but we're very eager to expand that work.
What is attendance like at those workshops, or would you consider them, you said workshops that the career fellows are hosting for their colleagues? What is the attendance there, and what is the impact? Do you find that other faculty members are indeed updating their curricula in response to those workshops?
So as you can imagine, with 25 campuses, it's variable from campus to campus. But one of the things we've been doing is, as a result of those workshops and the Career Success Fellows work, we're actually tagging the courses in our system that have been updated based on the work of these fellows. So we are able to track that. I don't have those numbers with me, but I'm happy to get them to you.
Oh, it sounds very easy. If you're tagging them, that's data. I love the data you're collecting. Yeah, I'd certainly be interested to know how many of the courses have been updated and what those updates look like. And then in addition to the career fellows, does CUNY have current degree majors available that could support even more additional career tracks for the Civil Service Pathway Fellowship, for example, human resources management?
We can get you a list of degree programs that map to the civil service pathways. Again, I don't have them with us here, but we have over 1,700 degree programs, and yes, there is a lot of overlap.
There's a lot. Maybe some of those are tagged too.
One would hope.
What's that?
One would hope.
You're a big system. It's got to keep track of all the data. Can you talk about some of the limitations? In other words, could CUNY provide more qualified graduates for the Civil Service Pathways Fellowship if slots were available? And who places the limits on the number of graduates in the program? Is it DCAS or is it CUNY?
I could take the recruitment piece, and then I'll leave the second part to you. So through the CUNY internship program that we run, that I alluded to before, we have had over 68,000 applications for the public sector roles that we have available to students in terms of internships. 60,000 to 655 is a ratio where, yes, there are many more students who would take advantage of the role should they be open. So we are excited to exploring how we get more and more city agencies involved in that effort. Do you want to talk about pathways in particular?
Yes, and so to clarify, we have the Civil Service Pathways Fellowships, which is that partnerships with CUNY and DCAS. This particular program allows for, and we just got an increase for us to place 200 individuals in those programs. So this is a limit that is set by the state. And so we have those programs cover policy and program analysis, procurement and finance, information technology and data analysis, creative services and digital media, project management, and then architecture and engineering. And so a part of how we recruit for this is to make sure that we're engaging with CUNY schools, making sure that we open the applications, we provide announcements on the application. And so far we've seen increase year over year in how many people are applying for these particular program. For the cohort that is starting on Monday with 68 individuals, we had over 1,000 folks, CUNY students that applied for the program.
Wonderful. I'd like to know we've been joined by Councilmember Caban. That's it. I just want to go back to what you said. You said the limit is placed by the state. The state limits the number of students that you're able to recruit for the Civil Service Pathways Fellowship.
So the Civil Service Pathways Fellowship is a specific title, civil service title that we use. And so in order to allow to hire folks utilizing that title, we have to get approval from the state. And of course, Katrina can add to that if needed.
Thank you, Kadian. So yes, because the title that's being used is what we call a non-competitive title, we have to request authorization from the State Civil Service Commission to utilize the title. So when the Civil Service Pathway Fellowship was first launched in 2019, we received approval from the State Civil Service Commission to fill 100 positions, and there were 3 specific tracks that we were focused on. And so over the last year, we submitted a proposal to the State Civil Service Commission to increase that number just due to the success of the program and the importance of having, more flexibility. And so we received approval most recently to increase the number of allocated positions from 100 to 200.
And what do you think is, why do you think there are so few positions, given the number of applicants? Why do you think they're setting the limits so low?
So it's really driven by the requests from the administration, from the city. And so we will continue to monitor the success of the program and, request increases periodically. This is a 50% increase. So the last cohort might have had about 30-something folks in it. This one we were able to double the number to 60.
Thank you. I just want to bring up the 311 internship program. That's been canceled. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I certainly can.
Thank you.
So right now it's slated to end in March. And essentially, CUNY has put at the core of its strategic plan a desire to increase paid internships for students. We've set out a bold goal around that, growing from 10% to 30% of all students participating in these paid internships. What that means in terms of absolute numbers, because of the size of our organization, is that we need to find an additional 32,000 paid internships every year in a city that only supports 11,000 of them posted online. So we know that a lot of what we have to do is not just accept what's in the market, but also create these opportunities for students through programs that we run across CUNY. Today, those programs serve about 4,500 students. We're really interested in doubling that number over the next, until 2030. In order to do that with limited resources, we have to make some tough decisions about maximizing the amount of that money that goes to student wages and making sure that those internships are actually launch pads to jobs. And what we found is that in some of our internships, students who had bachelor's degrees were being aligned with jobs that don't require any degree to achieve them. And so 311, that collaboration, is part of a much broader program called CUNY Internship Program that serves 655 students each year. We are so excited to grow that and to continue to work towards it. But when we looked at the actual jobs that students were in, the 311 jobs were not well aligned with the priorities that we have.
So they were replaced, I guess the positions for the 311 internship were replaced with other internships that do require degrees? Is that how the math works out?
Our intention is to, yes, grow other internship opportunities that are more aligned with student career aspirations and the degrees that they have.
So just to be clear, it's not a cut in the number of internships, it's not a cut in the program, you're just shifting resources to internships that do require those bachelor's degrees that you're providing at CUNY.
We are ending the internships in the 311 call center as part of this program. So those numbers at 311 are no longer going to continue after March.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, however many students, however many positions there are at 311, the number of students receiving internships aren't decreasing. Those 311 positions are going to be shifted to another agency or service that do requires the degrees that you provide at CUNY.
So we are actively building other partnerships with agencies to grow that. The way that the funding works is it's tied to each agency. Each agency contributes the funds for their own interns. So we can't move 311's funding to a different agency, but yes, we are growing our partnerships with agencies overall so that the number of opportunities for CUNY students does not go down.
Okay, so I just want to be clear. Even with the ending of this program, the number of CUNY students, there won't be fewer CUNY students
Right.
with opportunities for internships.
Right, that's our intent.
Okay, and yeah, and I think that's an important point, is that you want to align their internships with the degree attainment, with what they're getting. And are there other areas, other internships where you're finding, like 311, the internship they're being placed in isn't really a launch pad into a career, or doesn't align, a different career rather, or doesn't align with their degrees?
Generally, no. Generally, we've done a lot of work with agencies to make sure that they are identifying internships and role titles that have a clear progression into roles that are aligned with degrees. This is not the norm across this program.
I mean, working in a 311 center, I think, is a great career. I think, the pay is great. It's really important service, but I think I do agree that it's important that if you're going to college for a specific purpose, that your internship is aligned with that purpose. I want to pause it here. We've also been joined by Councilmember Eric Bottcher. I want to pause here and turn it back to Chair De La Rosa for Councilmember questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Chair Dinowitz. Good questions on 311 and all of that. We were joined momentarily by Councilmember Ressler and Councilmember Marte, so I want to recognize them. And then Councilmember Brewer has a question.
I'm concerned about this 311 because, I was there when it was started. It's got the King, Texas contract, city workers, and CUNY students. They learn something that's lifelong, though. If you can handle those crazy people on the phone, you can handle anything. So I'm serious, having been in that world for quite some time. So I'm just wondering, did you kind of survey them to see what they think of that job? Do they, the ones, because you've been there for what, 15 years now, 20 years almost. I think it's a real launching pad for future survival in New York City, literally.
So we have several alumni of the program who work in our office, and it's true, some of the skills that they learned there were absolutely essential and very valuable skills.
Yeah.
The work...
Dealing with the public is no joke.
No, yes, indeed. The work that a lot of our students aspire to, though, those particular roles were not particularly aligned with how they advance in their career paths overall. So definitely hear you, happy to reconsider and to have some additional conversations, but we really need to make sure that those roles in the call center have a clear link.
No, I agree. I mean, I mean, it was all switched. I mean, I think I don't need to get into past history, but there was a lot of work that went into having that kind of threesome for a whole series of reasons. So, I mean, I think you should look at it, because when somebody says they were in that role for another job, I would hire them, because that is a tough job. And the fact that you've been able to be successful at it, I would think would give you a leg up for different reasons. But my other question is, will the report list, because I teach at Hunter, I teach in the public service program, which is another entry into the workforce. There's no question, it's at Roosevelt House. There's no question that when our students leave, they're in internships for that year, they get a job. Nobody has ever not gotten a job. In city government, state government, nonprofit, obviously they're selected, so it's the cream of the crop to start with. But those relationships are what gets you the job. Obviously, if you take a test, it's a different path, but there's no question that the relationships work. So my question is, will the report that you are going to get to us list, it is a little confusing to hear all these different programs. It's great, but it's not clear. So is that something that will be in the report between what DCAS is doing and you're doing and so on? How does that work?
So the information that I referred to earlier, one, getting you all a list of the courses that have been updated through the Career Success Fellows.
Right, that's one portion.
May or may not include that, because it depends on if those faculty members are part of this group. The second thing is the alignment of our degree programs against civil service paths that we have. That I believe will reflect that too. But I don't know if you want to say something about
I mean, you are both listing excellent opportunities, but if you're from the public, it's confusing.
Yep.
And I just didn't know, is there any central place for people to go, or you have to be at this hearing today to know what's going on? Does DCAS have I don't know, how does this all work for the public? I'm always trying to think, you should know that city government sucks at communication. We're just terrible at it. And so DCAS is no different. So my question is, where does all this listed for both the public to know that you're doing all these great things and also for students?
Thank you for that, Council Member. So there are many different ways where the public can find out about the services and programs that the city offer. I will mention at a high level, and then Katie, and I'll turn it over to you for you to drill down. So, we have a website where, there's general information about workforce programs that are available through the city. We recently updated our NYC Jobs website, which very clearly outlines any internship opportunities or events like Civil Service 101, which provides the general public with information about how to enter the civil service system. And the Office of Citywide Recruitment, they also have a newsletter that goes out to over 200,000 New Yorkers monthly with general information about the civil service system. Katie, and please fill anything in that I may have missed.
I think you covered it. You covered it. One of the things that we do recognize is that we have to figure out different ways to engage different communities. Some folks are going on our job board, and usually we'll have our events listed on a separate site. So we found that it was really impactful to have the events that are upcoming listed on that website. And then even from the job board, there is a DCAS-specific page that speaks about the internships that provide additional FAQs, application periods, deadlines about the different programs that we have, and then our engagement with the public.
Okay. The reason I ask is, as we sit here today, there are many shortages in city government. Like, that's a different hearing. But then you have all these wonderful CUNY students, so many of which I know, should be getting many of these city jobs. So there's a disconnect, if you understand what I'm saying. In other words, every hearing I go to, we can't do housing, we can't do this, we can't do that, we don't have inspectors, we don't have this, we don't have people to do the jobs, right? That's the big talk. And yet, here are all these great CUNY students who could fill those jobs. So as you're talking, it's a little bit nebulous to understand how the two go together. So I guess I'm trying to say between CUNY and DCAS, it's not just that DCAS has the list. CUNY, there should be more understanding of how, because if I was, in charge, and we all hope that more CUNY students could get these jobs, because they are diverse and it's the greatest institution. So it's just not clear that, because when you're talking, there are just so many opportunities, but it is hard to understand and obviously funding. Now, the ones at CUNY that you're mentioning, we could always use more funding, but is there adequate funding to be able to meet the needs? You listed some programs that have X slots and just hundreds more people applying. So my question is, do you have some sense of which programs would need funding in order to meet some of that need at CUNY? Because you're talking about the kinds of jobs that are desperately needed for city government.
Yeah, so in the instances where the funding is not the only barrier, the barriers also being the number of civil service titles, obviously there's something in addition to funding that provides the bottleneck. But for our programs that do not require civil service titles in order to start students along the path of interning, we do have a number of programs that absolutely could scale with more funding. Part of the issue, too, is that our partnerships are with agencies directly. There's an expectation that agencies or city council member offices do pay students. And so some of it, too, is challenging because it's the individual agencies who also need more funding in order to be able to expand these programs.
I guess what I would say, because I believe that information should be shared, is the two of you should get together, DCAS and CUNY, and you should make it clear. This agency, you have to be a little, challenged to OMB. But you should say, I want to be clear, we are so desperate for city employees. Let's be clear. And yet, what you're saying is, here are the potential students who could be city employees, but there are so many barriers that we can't fulfill even the students that want to be city employees. That's a problem. So I'm suggesting that there be more understanding and you be a little bit bold and say, this agency is not giving us enough money to fill the amazing applications for students, et cetera. I can't tell you how many times we can't do things because there's nobody in the agency to do it. So I would make that suggestion. I know that's challenging because nobody wants to upset OMB. Well, get with the program. That would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add in terms of the partnerships that we have with CUNY, one of the main part is the engagement and making students aware of the opportunities available. So for example, tomorrow we have 2 events with CUNY. We're at City Tech and the CUNY Graduate Center. For the rest of the month, we have about 7 events scheduled with CUNY schools. And we engage agencies to come out with us. For the folks that apply for our internships, like the Civil Service Pathways Fellowship, we know that even though they may not be able to get into the program this time around, we do communicate with them and engage and say, hey, maybe the next time they can do the application
And why can't
process.
they get in this time around?
I'm sorry?
Why can't they get in this time around?
Because of the amount of positions that we have available.
Because of funding.
That could be a part of the process, but we have approval for only 200 positions. So that, again, is a mechanism for being able to use a civil service title. Right. So agencies are very much interested in partnering with us, and we do get a lot of applications from our agency partners who are looking to participate in the program. So there's definitely interest on both sides, but because of the nature of the civil service process and that it's a non-competitive title, we are limited in how many folks we can hire this time around.
Okay. Go ahead. Did you want to add to that?
I was just going to mention that it is a competitive process. It's group interviews, individual interviews, and so everyone, cannot be selected in the program. However, we do understand how important this program is, and we will continue to evaluate the scope and, the amount of available positions that we can offer.
I mean, if you want more than 200 slots, you should say to us, lobby the governor, lobby whatever to get more slots, if it's appropriate. I mean, I don't know. I assume the unions are happy with having more in that criteria. I want to make sure that, I happen to be very supportive of the union, so I want to make sure that, but I'm just saying, I don't know how else to say it. Take a look. We don't have enough city employees. So these are wonderful students. There's enough backup, et cetera, and I think we're limiting ourselves when we are desperate, and hopefully they'll have a career in city government, which is what we're looking for. You talk to anybody, I've been doing this a long time. I have so many friends in city government. They are really worried about the lack of a long-term city workforce. Here you have it.
Thank you, Councilmember Brewer. We're also going to have that hearing on November 19th, so DCAS will be back to talk about our agencies and where we are on vacancies. So as you could already see the preview, this is the concern that all of us on the council have right now with what's happening on city agencies. But November 19th, Gail, I know you'll be here. That's going to be our opportunity to really hone in on those questions on the vacancies and where we are in agencies. I think that Councilmember Brewer made some really, really good points, things to consider. That's why we wanted to have all of you here at the table to ask these questions. I'm gonna ask about what supports are available to students. So if a student goes through the Civil Service Ambassador Program or goes through any of the programs that are specialized to kind of enhance our civil service experience, what supports are available to them to prepare for the civil service exam and to support them in that journey?
You. In terms of the support that's available, we know that it's more than just getting the folks into the program. We know that they have to have more exposure other than the work that they're doing within their respective agencies. So for example, with the Civil Service Pathway Fellows, the cohort that started on Monday, they're getting, the very first part of it, they're getting information on the civil service process, what that means. They're getting different training opportunities that are available to them as folks go throughout the different programs. We do provide professional development opportunities, specifically with the Civil Service Pathways Fellows. By the time they get to a year, they're able to take a particular civil service exam that will allow them to, after they complete their the fellowship, they can be hired into a full-time position. But we do make a concerted effort to make sure that the different programs that we have, they have exposure to different information. We, for the Urban Fellows program, we identify, we have different seminars where we bring back folks that participated in the program, the alumni, so they can speak about their journey and what worked and what didn't work for them. So we are consistently and continuously building on the support that we provide, but at the baseline, we make sure that folks are engaged and aware of the different opportunities and processes that are available to them.
The Civil Services Pathways Fellows are placed in one of 6 career tracks: policy and program analysis, procurement and finance, information technology and data analysis, creative services and digital media, project management, and architecture and engineering. What criteria does the agency use to define and select these specific tracks?
So the way the program works, council member, is that we advertise the program. Mm-hmm. The students, they submit their applications. We do a thorough review of their application to determine which track they would be most qualified for. And then it's a matching process that happens. There's a group interview at the first level. The second level is an individual interview. And then the agencies and the participants, they have an opportunity to pick, which jobs they're most interested in. Mm-hmm. And then, that matching process happens, and then, the candidate goes through, onboarding, and they actually start at the agency.
Great. Thank you for walking us through that. My question was more aligned towards the agency and the decisions that is made regarding which career track. So are there any plans to increase the number of participating agencies or introduce new career tracks? Like, how is the agency deciding that these sort of buckets of careers are the ones that are necessary or most popular? Like, what is the criteria?
Thank you for that. So we determine what tracks to include in this program based on data and feedback from agencies, mm-hmm. As to skill sets that may be, limited at their agency, or where they may have found it to be hard to recruit top talent. We then had to put together a proposal for the State Civil Service Commission, and then they, provided us with authorization to include at least the 3 new additional tracks that we added, which is architecture, engineering, project management, and then expanding the information technology track. It is really just based on feedback from agencies and data that we have access to.
And how long does that approval from the state take?
How long does it take?
Yeah.
It takes a while. It does take a while.
Like 6 months, a year?
9 months to a year sometimes.
Okay, so that's another area where we know a few people in Albany, right? We can talk to our state colleagues about that. I know. I traded my commute. Okay, could you please elaborate on the partnerships that you have with the MTA and what the programs look like?
Yes, thank you for that question. We have partnered with the MTA to run internship programs that span a host of different types of occupational tracks and career tracks for students, everything from engineering and architecture through back office management, accounting, communications, et cetera. As I said, to date, we've placed 500 interns with the MTA over the last 2 years, and we can get you the exact numbers, which I don't have today, but we have seen dozens convert into full-time hires at the MTA, which is always a thing that we ultimately want to see.
That's excellent news. We're thrilled to learn also about your initiative that helps to give students the experience necessary to apply for civil service positions. Can DCAS speak to whether you're open to reviewing the experience requirement for young applicants the same way that you're reviewing the minimum education requirement for the regular civil service?
Absolutely. I do want to mention that Governor Hochul recently signed a bill into law amending Civil Service Law Section 54, which will allow candidates to have 1 year to meet the age requirement and the education requirements for an exam. So this will allow us to focus our recruitment efforts on high school students. So they will be able to take a civil service exam at the age of 17, and then be on the list and then considered for appointment. Once they reach the age requirement. So that's one way that we're doing that, and that's pretty much the vehicle that we have right now to hone in on the younger population.
We're going to require some collaboration with the DOE, I'm assuming.
Yes, we already work very closely with them.
Great. Governor Hochul also announced that all state civil service exam application fees will be waived through December 2025. Given that the city's civil service exam fees range from $40 to $101, and these fees can present a barrier to entry for some New Yorkers, has the city considered waiving the application fees entirely?
So I just want to start out by saying that we're dedicated and we're always looking for ways to reduce barriers, related to application fees or entering the civil service system. Currently, DCAS offers hardship fee waivers to many different disparate groups who may have financial hardships in paying for civil service exams. I also want to mention that we have piloted no-fee exams, and we found that it is an ineffective method of recruitment, as we may see a larger number of folks apply for exams, but then when it's time to actually come in and sit for the exam, they don't show up. So we don't see that as an effective method of recruiting top talent. What has worked is the bridge exam, where applicants can pay one application fee. It's a standard application fee of $40. They take one exam, and then they're able to take multiple exams, upwards of 10 exams.
My understanding, though, with the bridge exam is that there's a limit to which categories of work the bridge exam covers, correct?
Mostly entry-level titles. Candidates do have to meet the minimum qualifications for the titles being offered, but we have seen great success with attracting, interested folks through that method.
What would it take to expand or scale that bridge exam to sort of cover a more cross-sector of the workforce that is needed right now in our city?
Thank you. So we're actually on our third iteration of the bridge exam.
Okay.
And then we have expanded it to include public safety titles. So in my testimony, I had mentioned that this year we launched the public safety bridge, which is similar to the traditional bridge exam, but it's really focusing on public safety titles because we do see a decrease in interest in applications for public safety jobs. So we wanted to give the general public an opportunity to have, to expand their ability to apply for these type of jobs. We will continue to look for creative ways to, reduce barriers to, examinations in civil service, especially through the bridge exam.
Great, thank you for answering those questions. I have one more question on my end, then I'll pass it back over to Chair Dinowitz. The Council Data Team's pay disparity report found that Civil Service Pathway Fellowship Program effectively recruited and retained a diverse potential municipal employees and reduced disparities. Over 2/3 of participants were employees of color, and more than half remained in the municipal workforce. Can you share any specific initiatives or strategies that have been implemented to promote the diversity within the program?
Specifically within the Civil Service Pathways Program?
Yes. But we're open to all. The more information, the better, but yes.
Thank you. We are very much committed to diversifying the city and making sure that different and various folks have opportunities to apply for these programs, and that's where the recruitment aspects come in. So one of the things that we do when we're engaged in different organizations and schools is we look at the population that they serve. So partnership with CUNY is really helpful because we know that certain CUNY schools have a higher level of population for different folks. So we may go to Bronx Community College or Lehman College where we're able to engage various Hispanics or Black. So we do take that into consideration in terms of the outreach that we're doing, and we're looking at the end results, right? Who are the folks that are getting into the position? Are we diversifying the applicant pool? And so we want to make sure that we continue to engage and work with organizations that work with folks of a particular demographic, as well as the educational institutions that serve those folks.
Thank you for answering that question.
Thank you, Chair De La Rosa. So looking forward, what opportunities do you see in the future with city agencies to serve as interns or fellows? What agencies could be potential partners for CUNY?
We are delighted to work with more city and state agencies. Thank you for the question, it's appreciated. The opportunity, though we work with 14 agencies today within our CUNY internship program, obviously that leaves a lot of room for growth. There are a lot of agencies that are not partnering with us on that, and we would love to expand that. Additionally, our industry support hub, as I mentioned earlier, which isn't only focused on internships, it's focused on full-time hiring too. As I mentioned, they work with 76 different city and state agencies. And amongst those agencies, the majority are city agencies, but still not as many as we would like to see on there. So we tend to work with, and are happy to provide a list afterwards of all of those agencies, many of the large agencies that have come to us that employ a lot of people. But the thing that we oftentimes can't reach is some of the smaller agencies who we don't have existing partnerships with. So anything that could be done to expand our outreach to them as well as to City Council would be very welcome.
Are you conducting those outreach efforts, or are you asking for support from the City Council in terms of connecting you with agencies, or both?
So definitely when it comes to getting more City Council offices involved in our ETR program, we'd love to do that directly with you. In terms of city agencies, we do conduct outreach to them on a regular basis. Obviously, a call to action around this is very helpful no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And what have been some of the challenges in working with city agencies, whether it relates to funding, advertising, personnel policies, or anything else?
So funding is certainly a challenge at the agencies, as I alluded to before, because we do not use these programs to connect students to unpaid opportunities. That's something that we don't necessarily promote through our office. So funding is certainly an issue. Some of the other issues we encounter are generally true whether we're talking about the public sector or our private sector internships, which is CUNY students are very diverse. Half of them come from families that earn less than $30,000 a year in family income. So many students have full-time jobs, and when they're thinking about the trade-off between getting rid of their full-time year-round job and taking an internship that doesn't necessarily have a guarantee of immediately leading to a full-time job thereafter, it's a challenging trade-off for them. So what we've attempted to do through our programs to address the challenge of not making it a zero-sum game for students, leave your full-time job to take this internship that'll advance your career, we've done a lot of work with city agencies to try to think about part-time internship programs that students can do while they're working, while they're in school, We also revamped our big summer internship program to be more flexible in terms of hours, allowing for part-time hours, not requiring full-time hours, so that more students can actually take advantage of it while preserving the incomes that they need to stay in school.
And how's that been? Have the city agencies been receptive to part-time interns?
Yes, definitely. The city agencies we've been working with are interested in retaining the students that come to their door. As we've alluded to, they're very eager to have these students. So we found that there have been, particularly over the last 3 years, very interested in thinking about not just how they can have part-time models that will bring more students on, but also thinking about how they are clear in providing more mentorship and helping students stay in their internships and continue on.
And what else? I mean, you mentioned a few things, but what else could the city council do to provide more support for the collaboration and the collaborative internship and fellowship programs run by CUNY and city agencies?
We always appreciate the opportunity to highlight them, so thank you. This in and of itself is very useful. I think some of your points and valid points in terms of challenging us to be clearer about the opportunities is a good note for us to take back and work on. In the meantime, I think the more that a call to action, as I mentioned, around agencies participating in these programs, opening up these pipelines, is useful coming from everywhere, including City Council.
Thank you. I'll turn it back to Chair De La Rosa.
I actually think we're good on questions. Thank you all so much for being here and answering our questions. Obviously, there's more follow-up to go, but we're excited about the possibilities of these continued partnerships, and we look forward to the conversation. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
I now open the floor to public testimony. Before we begin, I remind members of the public that this is a formal government proceedings and that decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recordings or photography is allowed from the witness table, and further, members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant at Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please fill out an appearance card with the Sergeant of Arms and wait for your name to be called. Once you have been recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on today's hearing topics regarding the pathways into New York City civil service. If you have a written statement or additional written testimony you wish to submit for the record, please provide a copy of that testimony to the Sergeant at Arms. You may email your witness testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of this hearing. Audio and video recordings will not be accepted. When you hear your name, please come up to the witness table. For the first panel, we invite Arthur Chilotis. Hello, Mr. Chiliotis. Thank you for being here and welcome. You may begin when you're ready.
First, happy Halloween. Thank you, Chair De La Rosa and Chair Dinowitz, and my longtime friend Gail Brewer for the comments that she made earlier regarding OMB. I could give you horror stories if you're ready to listen. But let me offer my testimony here. I entered city service in 1972 and served as president of Local 1180 for 13 consecutive 3-year terms starting in 1979, until Gloria Middleton was elected and took office in 2018. For decades, we have been a team fighting for dignity, justice, and respect for our members, who are predominantly women of color. So right in your workforce, you have a diverse workforce. I currently serve as the chairman of the Labor Advisory Board of the City University of New York School of Labor and Urban Studies, and president of the CUNY School of Labor Studies Foundation. I have served in various advisory capacities at Queens College and the Joseph Murphy Institute. I am also a native New Yorker, son of an undocumented immigrant who was also an Army cook in World War II. I am a proud product of the New York City public school system and a tuition-free city university. Within a year of earning my degree from Queens College, I qualified to take a competitive civil service test and scored well enough to be appointed a year later as an income maintenance specialist at the Department of Social Services. That was followed by a succession of written competitive promotional tests where I scored well enough to reach the top of my occupational group as an administrative manager. My ability to earn a good salary and health benefits and a Tier 1 pension, by the way, allowed me to move from the working class to the middle class. The two important documents which symbolize my success are my Queens College diploma and my CWA Local 1180 union membership card. They are the vehicles to the middle class, unions and a college degree. The CUNY Civil Service Pathways Fellowship, a partnership of CUNY and DCAS, must be supported and expanded. This program is important in recruiting tool for city government. It must also adhere to the important standards of merit and fitness mandated by the state constitution and civil service law. This partnership is laudable, but recruitment is not enough. Retention is also required if we are to provide the important public services New Yorkers, our families, friends, and neighbors need and deserve. In the committee briefing documents, you cite the following. Chancellor Rodriguez wrote in his op-ed that CUNY bore a particular obligation to our diverse student population, many of whom are from the underrepresented communities cited by Speaker Adams, and are prime candidates for pathways to economic stability. By increasing diversity in the civil service, may I continue?
You may continue, but we have some more folks that also signed up to testify, so if you could summarize some of the points, that would be amazing. But continue, please. Thank you.
Well, earlier this year, we appeared before you regarding the diversity, pay diversity report. And in it, the current public workers, especially minority women, have been segregated into low-paying jobs. CUNY could be a vehicle for them to move into higher-paying jobs. But it requires the cooperation of DCAS, who understands that these current workers cannot be neglected as you might the Williamsburg Bridge before it was fixed, but in fact, given opportunities through CUNY to be able to bridge to promotional exams that pay much higher wages. To work with CUNY, the agencies that need the staff and their unions to create those programs. What unions provide and have provided for years is tuition assistance that allows our members to go to CUNY schools. And our EEO case was won in large part because back in the 80s, we started a program with CUNY, with Queens College, that gave our members the opportunity to get their degrees. And when we filed our EEO case for administrative managers, we were able to show that our members, these women of color, had better educational credentials than the white male predecessors that used to work in those jobs. And because of that, we were able to win substantial increases for administrative managers. The pay disparity report came out of our EEO case. The legislation to create it was an acknowledgement of how women and people of color are ignored by DCAS and not given the opportunities to advance. And even today, when our members who are administrative managers are offered higher level positions, we often get reports that OMB is blocking the promotion of our members. Why? Because the pay scale is much higher after the EEO case, and they don't want to pay it. Making sure that we continue to suppress the wages of women and people of color. Now, we have other programs that are in my written testimony. If you look at the paraprofessional, the teacher program, done through the CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies. You have paraprofessionals. We had to negotiate. The CUNY School of Labor negotiated programs at various colleges throughout the CUNY system, where these paraprofessionals could could take these courses in the afternoon after work, so that they could become teachers. That means a nearly doubling of their salaries. That is really an affirmative action program that offers women and minorities a career path. And going forward, the opportunity to earn a master's degree plus credits, which will add to their salaries. These are life-changing events and can play an important role in providing the city services that we need. The CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies has done this for DC 37, for Local 1180. We do it day in and day out. The school is also talking about going into the high schools, and it's detailed in my report, in my testimony. All these are opportunities to retain the women and minorities in the diverse workforce you have. I urge you to demand that not only do we deal with recruiting, but with retention. That there be another key vehicle that offers opportunities where these students can come in at the lowest rungs and move up and know that there is a path to the higher paying jobs. And with that, I'd be happy to questions,
Thank you so much.
For your
Thank you so
indulgence
much
of time.
for your meaningful testimony, for providing us all of this information, which the committee will review fully. I do have one question. At your last paragraph in your testimony, it says, the School of Labor and Urban Studies requested but did not receive city funding to implement this innovative program. Which program are you referring to?
I was referring to the high school program we attempted to initiate.
Okay, we'll follow up.
Which is paralleled on the junior ROTC. We talk about a public service training corps.
Okay, we'll follow up offline,
Yeah.
so that when we're developing our budget priorities, I could make sure that we're in communication.
And all I can tell you is, again, the programs that you've started here are wonderful.
Thank you.
They need to be expanded. And thank you.
I really appreciate you, and through you, I also give our thanks and gratitude to the members of CWA 1180 who have been trailblazers in this movement before we got here. And so we're grateful for your service to our city. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Our next, we've also been joined by Councilmember Oswald Feliz. And our next panel, public panel, includes Sal Di Rosalia. If you hear your name, please come up to the microphone, and Christopher Leon Johnson.
I'm Sal Di Rosalia, and I live in Long Island City. So I was literally just on a tour here, and I happened to scan the code and sit down, and I really love what I hear, so I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for being here and doing these jobs. I think it's really important. My short personal story is I just moved back to New York a couple of years ago to help take care of my father and my mother. I have kind of re-entered the workforce a little. I'm re-enrolled in school. I just moved to the city a couple months ago, and I love city government. I love the city in general, and I find it really hard to break through. It is challenging at best. I've been to job fairs. I've been to just a lot of different things, and I'm learning, and I'm following the path. But sitting back there and hearing it, I thought there were very good questions about how to promote it more, how to increase the opportunities for people there. I appreciate the 311 and how many qualified people can get in. But yeah, I just found myself sitting in that chair. I'm 45 years old too, not that matters, but just to give you a little timestamp. I want to be a part of, I want to contribute, and I know there should be a bar to get in there, but at the same time, I feel like there should also be ushering of people who are ready, willing, and able. And so whatever you all can help to do that, I appreciate it, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here, coming over and participating. That's what these public hearings are for. And I invite you to touch base with our staff afterwards to see how we can be helpful. Thank you so much. Mr. Johnson?
Hey, hello, my name is Christopher Leon Johnson. Thanks for having this panel. I didn't know they had us across the other side with the sexual harassment stuff. A lot of people over there. Look, here's the thing, right? We're in the time where nonprofits are the thing right now. Is where the money's at. Is a $1 billion industry. Everybody's getting to nonprofit because it's where the money at, and you don't have to work at McDonald's. I believe the city council should work with CUNY to instead. I understand we need civil service, but we need to start training people for these college students for nonprofits, because a lot of these nonprofits need these type of minds and these type of attitudes in here. The problem with civil service is too hard to get a job in civil service. There was a video that's viral on Instagram of somebody trying to get a job with the MTA, and they was told like, oh, they just made everybody does is go scan thing and scan and apply. It's on Instagram. It's a viral video on Instagram. Like somebody scan and apply, and they were pissed off. I understand a lot of people need city jobs because it's where the money at and the benefits, and everybody need benefits. But look, it's hard to get it. It's hard to get civil service jobs. It's easier to get a nonprofit job. Nonprofits pop up like nothing these days. Nonprofits open up every week. And I believe the city council, starting with this panel, like this three here, Felice, since you're the small business chair, nonprofits, some of them are small businesses. And Mr. Dinowitz, you're the CUNY chair, and De La Rosa for labor. I think you should all get together and work with CUNY and small business services to open, what should call pathways to nonprofits, pathways to NGOs. Because the city council, they deliver all this money to these nonprofits, so you might as well start training these college students, mainly people that's under 24 years old, under 24, to work for these nonprofits, the ones that you guys fund, like Ballroom Basics, Ballroom Basics, and like Local Men, Worker Justice Project. What else we got here? NMIC, you know, mainly the what is it? The human justice nonprofits, like Just Pay, #JustPay nonprofits. So I believe that we should go this route instead. We should really go this route, because if you start telling these students to go apply for city jobs, but they know that most of them not going to get, because you got to know someone to get those jobs, they're going to be frustrated. We got a mental health crisis in New York City, and that's going to add to the mental health crisis in the city. So there's a different way. It's nonprofits. I'm a journalist. I'm not in my journalist capacity, but it's where it's at right now. It's where the money's at. So we have to change course. I'm not saying it's going to happen today, but I hope very soon that you get with the speaker, and including the majority leader, because she oversees economic development, Mana Frias, to start having all the other chairs like CUNY, Mr. Felix, and the new chick, I forgot her name, to start getting to the nonprofit sector, start opening more opportunity for the nonprofit sector. So thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony today.
Yeah.
Thank you all who came here today to share your thoughts and experiences. If there is anyone in the chamber who wishes to speak but has not yet had the opportunity to do so, okay, please raise your hand, fill out the appearance card, put the sergeant at arms in the front of the room. Okay. All right, Cecile Chapa. Okay, you may begin.
Hello, my name is Cecile Chapa. I'm currently a freshman student of Brooklyn College, CUNY University of New York. I really appreciate what you mentioned about the benefits of CUNY University and their internship apprenticeship. I'm just concerned about the internships of how can they like benefit me, and because I'm a freshman year student who's going to start an internship on spring 2024, so I'm really interested on that, and I really want to know how can that benefit me as a student currently at Brooklyn College. So that's my concern. Yeah, but also I like that that you, like the council member mentioned that the apprenticeships and the benefits of how CUNY has its in its forward standards of educational. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Oh wait, and also as a research student, I really like participating in your comedy as like a student, and I really do, really, yeah.
Can you tell us, I have a few questions.
Yeah.
One is, what drew you to this hearing today? It isn't frequent that students such as yourself come to joint hearings like this. What drew you to this hearing today?
What drew me like to this hearing is to get to know more about the comedy, like to know more about like the benefits on higher education, because since I'm in college, I want to know more about it and get more involved.
Love to hear it. And you've applied for an internship and you've been accepted to an internship for next spring?
No, I mean, I'm waiting for the acceptance. I got an interview as a freshman, yes.
Okay, wonderful. And did you apply for a specific internship?
Yes, I applied for the healthcare hub.
Oh, that's very fun. And you expect to, when's your interview?
My interview? No, I just had it. It was a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, I'm sure you did great.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and when do you expect to hear back about whether you've...
I expect to hear back that I've been accepted and for the award to like turns, I need to.
At what? Sorry, what?
Like me, like as a student, I expect to get high standards from the internship.
Good. And do you know when you receive word whether you've been accepted to the internship?
No, I haven't received any email yet.
Okay.
But I'm looking forward to it for working on the spring 2024 to
Okay.
help like others with mental health conditions. My major is psychology and my minor is neuroscience.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us, with this committee today?
Yeah, I would like to share about like the internships and the helps that I think there was a person here next to another person speaking about to the comedy, to you, right? About how the internships has a major impact on how we view things and how do you say this? Like, how does the internship benefit others, and what are the like consequences of it too? Because some students I know don't get paid for internships, so I know that they don't, but I would love to get paid for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for testifying today.
Yeah, that's good feedback, and I think you're well on your way to the advocacy route. I mean, showing up at the city council and giving your testimony is brave and courageous, and we're hopeful that you will get that internship, but Chair Dinowitz and myself are here if you need any assistance and if we can be helpful to you in your process.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for being here today. So now I will turn the microphone over to Zoom testimony. When your name is called, please wait for a member of your team to unmute you, and that indicates that you may begin.
You may begin.
Okay. Well, there's no one, seeing no hands, I would like to note that everyone can submit written testimony at testimony.council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of this hearing. To conclude, I would like to thank all the folks who opened up pathways to municipal workforce for aspiring civil service workers, and to CUNY for pioneering so many great programs to equip students with the skills they need to thrive in their careers. In addition, we would like to take a moment to express thanks to all of the advocates who attended today's hearing to share their experiences, and to our dedicated staff who organized this hearing. Chair Dinowitz, any final?
Well, thank you, Chair De La Rosa. I want to thank you for your hard work on the committee, and of course to DCAS and to CUNY. And I think the importance of this is recognizing what so many of us in the council recognize, that your job, your education, none of those exist in silos, that your education is on a pathway to getting a good career, and your good career comes from getting a good education. And I'm extremely proud to work with people like Chair De La Rosa who recognize that and work with the CUNY system and in a city that is recognizing that and is making more investments in that. So I'll turn it back to you, Chair De La Rosa.
Thank you all for being here, and with that, we conclude today's hearing. Thank you.